Welcome back to the Storyrant podcast, and today I'm going to be joined by CT Phipps. We're going to be doing something a little bit different here, because as some of you may know, my latest cosmic horror novel, Cthulhu Grimoire, just came out, and my buddy Charles wants to interview me for a change, so we're going to flip the script and do something a little bit different, so I hope you enjoy that. And he might surprise me with some stuff, I don't know. But ready for some off-the-cuff commentary about the new book and everything. And hopefully no spoilers if you haven't read the book. The links will be in the description and whatnot. Go ahead and pick it up. And I think we can do a giveaway here. Like, the first 5 people that comment will get a free copy of the book or something. I'm just winging that shit right now, but let's do it. Yeah. So comment down below your favorite Lovecraftian entity. Let's go ahead and switch over.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Charles Phipps, aka CT Phipps, author of Cthulhu Armageddon, the Supervillainy Saga, and the United States of Monsters. I'm a good friend of Eric's, but I actually really enjoy his books, which is how I became acquainted with him in the first place. I checked them out, I liked them, I decided to get in contact with the author, and he's now having me on his show, except this time on the show, I'm going to be doing the interview instead of him because, well, it's his book, and it would be rather silly for him to interview himself.
I mean, I could totally see, like, I could do one of those, stories where I'm playing a bunch of different characters, and I could do that. That could be a reel. That could be a reel.
Well, one of my good friends in the RPG world is Seth Skorkowski, who has multiple characters. He does all of his work under, and it's hilarious, but I think he's a little bit better actor than you are. Sorry, Eric.
I fucking love Seth. So, like, I've been watching his channel for a while, and I would, absolutely love Seth.
Oh, he's also a Monster Hunter author, and you check out his Valdican series there, and I'll recommend next time I see him that he check out your stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't know. I figured he wrote TTRPG stuff. I do too, but I haven't published anything yet.
He does both RPGs and novels there. His novels are available from Crossroad Press too.
Oh, sweet. So he's one of us.
Sort of, yes. The amusingly fact is it's the 7 degrees of CT Phipps there, because I was the one who got involved with Crossroad Press, and I got you involved with them, and so, yeah, it's all branching from my diabolical plan.
Right. So you're just, like, picking up strays or what have you.
Oh, yes. Well, there's a lot of people that actually are looking for a decent mid-tier indie publisher when you're trying to make an actual professional go of this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, we're flipping the script, and you're interviewing me on this, so I'm just going to let you fly by the seat of your pants, and I will react. You're now the host. You have all this responsibility, so no pressure, Charles?
Oh, or I'll just be one of those folks who has an absolute breakdown in the middle of things, start ranting utterly nonsense, and then get dragged off by security.
Oh, there we go. That would be a great like short. Oh, yeah.
Yes, we need to go find that lost clip of you in that situation there. It was political. We all know it. Totally based the Joker movie on you.
Yeah, as we all know, the current weapons of resistance are sandwiches and subs.
Oh yes, but they acquitted him of throwing that, and I'm just like, where is the law anymore?
Yeah, the testimony on that shit was fucking wild. I could smell the mustard and the ketchup. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get way off here. We continue making fun of the politics of the current day there. Yeah. So, the big question before we begin this is: it Cthulhu Grimoire, or do you pronounce the numbers in the name?
It's Cthulhu Grimoire. The numbers in the name are style. Like I was partially inspired by the naming of Nosferatu, but obviously, this is a very different book.
But you pronounce the numbers in the name. It's like Grimoire 1. Come on, man.
Right. No, I just like the way the numbers looked, and it also speaks to AI and its role in the story. So,
and it's 100% organic author, though. Yes. Yes, no AI in the book except fictionally.
Yeah, yeah, just it
I
is
hate the
more
fact that we have to clarify.
commentary on it.
Yes, but yeah, that was just a question I had to ask for those people who want to find the book on Amazon's absolutely. I will not say a swear word to demonetize this, but dog blank search engine of Amazon.
I
You
mean,
enter
you
Cthulhu
can
Grimoire,
swear.
yeah,
You can swear.
yes,
We're
the dog shit search engine of Amazon,
there
and
you go.
yeah, yes, and you look it under Cthulhu Grimoire, not Cthulhu One, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And on Goodreads, there are two editions, one with the title that was with the stylized numbers and everything. Again, it's stylized. It was never intended. I figured the folks at Crossroad would just get that because I'm tired, you know.
Oh no, you should never assume anything on this sort of situation because authors are a strange and finicky bunch, especially in horror fiction.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You were right.
Okay, yes. But yeah, I am a longtime Cthulhu fan. Anyone who knows anything about me knows that it just leaks into every single one of my series, whether it's humor or fiction, set in space, horror, post-apocalypse. There, Cthulhu and me are bosom buds. There, I will totally be the first to be eaten when the apocalypse happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with
Yeah.
you. Trust me.
But yeah, I loved Cthulhu Grimoire there. I read the first book there, but I consider it works perfectly well as a standalone, and I'm going to interview based on the fact that I did read it cover to cover. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every little detail of it, but I'm going to let you mostly talk about it. So let's start with the questions. Okay, so assuming you are just an average genre fan of horror and a passing familiarity either through the tabletop or the slippers, what is Cthulhu Grimoire?
It is a fusion of noir and cosmic horror, and those two are very good bedfellows together. But I was very much inspired by Matt Ruff's Lovecraft Country, and which isn't technically cosmic horror. It's a great book. Don't get me wrong. I love it for a lot of reasons. The activist in me loves it because it exposes the horror of Jim Crow America and what Black Americans had to deal with, especially the show. The show has a lens that is just incredible. But I was also inspired by people like John Horner Jacobs or John Langan with The Fisherman and his Wide Carnivorous Sky anthology. I've been reading cosmic horror for a while, both modern and older stuff, you know? And something that I really wanted to do was tell a story that it's kind of like cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, the best stories in cyberpunk are stories about now. The best stories in cosmic horror, I feel, are also stories about now. They reflect our struggles in today's world and the questions that humanity is struggling with, because at the center of cosmic horror is sort of an unraveling of humanity's place in the universe. We're not the center of everything. And I love that. I absolutely love that. So I went into it wanting to tell a story that mixed noir, the problems that I've had myself with for-profit colleges, AI, questions about that, and, you know, swirling that into some weird Lovecraftian mix that just kind of works, you know? And then also having the analog horror and Dracula influence, the original Dracula novel by Bram Stoker, which is a great epistolary novel. Like, if you haven't read that, it's a must read. But yeah, Cthulhu Grimoire is a noir detective cosmic horror story that spirals into madness and drags you along the way.
You're also a cyberpunk author in addition to doing Cthulhu and dark fantasy, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. And
Yes.
I will be venturing into the world, or deeper into the world of Cyberthulu, or Cthulhu Punk, as some people call it, with the next Echoes book. My debut novel was actually a Cthulhu Punk novel called Echoes of Olympus Mons, which you're a big fan of, I know. And that really was the first time I endeavored to mix the two genres.
Oh yeah, I also liked Ego Trip, which is another novel I'd recommend for people who enjoyed Cyberpunk 2077. And And I think that it also is something for fans that do like a horrific take on cyberpunk without actually getting into the tentacly stuff.
Right. It's very much, it was inspired by Alien and, stuff like Ghosts of Mars and whatnot, Event Horizon and things like that. I wanted a straight,
You're
almost
talking
like
about Echoes of Olympus Mons.
Echoes of Olympus Mons. Yeah,
Yep.
it was very much, I wanted to create a new kind of monster, like not a movie monster, but who knows, maybe someday. That no one had come up with before, and the dark matter phantoms in that book are, spoiler, they are that. But Color Out of Interstellar Space will be the next book in that series, and all of my cyberpunk stuff is connected to the Neo Rackham book. So Ego Trip is, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so they're all connected. So actually, Echoes is the first book in that timeline, because it takes place in like 2040, and then Ego Trip takes place in like, I think, 2100.
Back to Cthulhu Grimoire, I actually did notice some noir film influences of the modern variant, like LA Noir and Seven.
Oh yeah,
I thought
seven is definitely was an influence. Like Seven was a big impact on me because it's like a Batman movie without Batman, isn't it?
Oh yes, but yeah, my next question would be really for those who are more hardcore Cthulhu fans out there, because this is a 100-year-old fandom at this point. What separates yeah, what separates Cthulhu Grimoire from other mythos and horror fiction that gives you your own little signature stamp to it?
I really, it's the tone, the mood, and it's kind of batshit insane, One of my friends, who was a big influence on the character of River, said it's like the best parts of Alien and Aliens just wrapped up together, or what have you, with all the gross body horror, and then you have aspects like the inspiration from The Thing and whatnot, with all the stuff about the Shoggoth, and yeah, it's. I feel like a lot of mythos stories are a little too fan servicey. Not all of them, but there's definitely a contingent of mythos stories, like within the Cthulhu mythos, that are a little too close to or trying to mimic what Lovecraft was doing. And there's no mimicking what Lovecraft was doing. It's been done. So the question I had when I was going to write Cthulhu Grimoire was, how do I take this creature, this famous fucking creature, where we've got plushies of him, we've got, Cat Cthulhu and everything else. Like, I've made jokes about Cat Cthulhu in promoting the book and everything. Like, how do we make Cthulhu scary again? Right? Because we all think of Cthulhu as this iconic character, right? You instantly know what Cthulhu is when you see something referencing him, like artwork or anything, even if it's like cheapified Cthulhu, right? It's no longer scary. So I wanted to take Cthulhu down to his essence and use him as a vehicle to scare the ever-loving shit out of readers. And I think I at least succeeded with my editor, because she can't read my books at night.
Yes. One thing I noticed about Cthulhu Grimoire is Lovecraft is actually an in-universe author, and the world of his writing is exposed to the general public. It's not pretending that he didn't exist and influence 100 years of writing, which I thought was a clever little nod there. I like it when zombie movies mention, that is a zombie. What the fuck?
Yeah. And sort of the idea behind that, because like I battled with myself just a little bit over that idea. And so some alternate universes, some Earth variants within the OEI, I guess, multiverse, Lovecraft isn't a writer in those Earth variants, but some he is. And the joke that I have is, like, every Earth variant in the OEI multiverse thinks it's Earth variant 001, so you never know which one it is. But
they made that joke in DC. Where Earth 2 was like, why are we Earth 2?
Right. It's very much tongue in cheek, but also humans are just like that. We think we're the center. So of course, if the many worlds theory is correct, and there are just like a million different variants of Dr. Weber and Dr. Patton, they think that theirs is Earth Variant 1 or 001. What was the question again? Did I fuck that up?
Oh, no. You went on the perfect, wonderful author tangent there. And it's always good to talk about how your works all fit together in a tapestry and a multiverse there. Brandon Sanderson did it with his Cosmosphere, but I ended up doing it all around my supervillainy books there, too. So, and
Which are
heck,
fucking fantastic and hilarious.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's one of the few series, like, not to tangent on your stuff, but it's one of the few comedy books that actually makes me laugh. The other is, like, I know Project Hail Mary is not supposed to be a comedy book, but it does make me laugh out loud. And that's that and Bobbyverse. Like, those three. Supervillainy, Bobbyverse, and Project Hail Mary. We need to get you, Andy Weir, and the guy who writes the Bobbyverse in one room for just a round table and just watch the fucking shenanigans happen.
Oh yes, that would be hilarious. But yeah, let's actually move on to the next question there, because you mentioned River as one of the protagonists, but I'd love to hear about the two characters you selected to primarily be the vehicle for which we explore people coming into Cthulhu. There's three protagonists in this book, which means they're not safe.
Yeah, they're not safe. None of them are safe, and I always love ensemble films. And I feel the same about books. If you have, it's one of the reasons why I really loved George R.R. Martin's stuff when he started releasing A Song of Ice and Fire. I read the fuck out of the first 4 books and then stopped reading the 5th one because I'm like, well, if book 6 isn't coming out, why should I bother? Until it comes out. I'm not going to say it's not going to come out, but
I'm one of those people, those theorists that have the idea that there is a book there, but it's like 15 different separate books, all like an encyclopedia set.
Yeah, it's just this long.
And George just can't cut it into separate pieces like he did the previous ones. So that's why it'll never be released until until 15 years from now, and he's half hooked up to a cybernetic harness or something.
Yeah, we're gonna Walt Disney him.
Oh yeah, okay. But yes, tell us about those 3 protagonists, unless you think that would be spoilers.
With Hunter, I really wanted to hone in on a detective who's burned out, who's, not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination, but he's trying his best to make the LAPD better. Right, because we know a lot about police brutality and everything. We know about the roaming gangs of sheriffs and white police officers that were basically racial enforcement or some shit.
Yeah, it'd be easier to stop Cthulhu than reform the LAPD.
Exactly. I mean, tackling white supremacy in the United States is a hot button issue for some reason. But
can't imagine why.
Right. So Hunter very much doesn't want to rock the boat, but he wants to change the system from within. He just doesn't know how. So when art students start offing themselves at a for-profit art school and the LAPD wants to hang one out to dry, one of the students who happens to be black, they're just going to openly plant evidence and whatnot and try to frame this kid who Hunter knows is innocent. It sends him down a rabbit trail, a downward spiral into madness, as I like to call Call of Cthulhu scenarios are. They use the same term for cosmic horror stories too. What starts as an investigation that is very human and motivated by human desires to do justice and seek justice turns into something much worse. And it basically dooms him, to this path. And the story becomes for him more about, like, how does he save face? How does he win while he loses? You know what I mean? Like, in Call of Cthulhu scenarios, fucking huge fan of Call of Cthulhu. The motivation, and this goes for storytelling too. And one of the I think tabletop RPGs are a great lens for how we break down what each genre is really about at the core. And cosmic horror, much like Call of Cthulhu in comparison to D&D, is about that spiral into madness rather than being built up to godhood, which is what a lot of fantasy stories are about. You know, they're power fantasies, right? Cosmic horror is the absolute opposite of that. So when you have a character that is basically doomed, you know they're doomed, you know they're not safe, the question becomes, well, what is their defining moment? Because in Call of Cthulhu, the best moments that we've had around my table are when characters make a meaningful stand and somehow save the world in the throes of death and madness. That's where your true character shows. And that's sort of what the idea that I went in while writing Hunter. Also getting a lot of feedback from, you know, my black friends who have, obviously I'm white, so I don't know all the lenses as far as, I don't know that lens when it comes to experiencing police brutality, you know? And so it was important to get their perspective and be like, hey, am I doing this justice? Right? And so far the feedback has been amazing. But moving on to River, River is like the other side of the coin. River, he's trans, he's an art student, he represents, you know, both, like, not just the trans struggle, the LGBTQ struggle as artists and whatnot, but all artists. He is basically every young artist that has been taken advantage of by a for-profit art school, like the Art Institutes. I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually went to a for-profit art school. I was taken advantage of by one of these places. And I'm not going to name names here. The matter's all settled. Everything's been forgiven. But I had a lot to say on that because basically they lure people, or lured, past tense, because they're no longer doing this, thankfully, thanks to the federal government cracking down on them, with like used car salesman tactics and things like that. So I wanted to build a character that kind of embodied all of the struggles that artists are going through right now, whether that's, you know, the advent of AI art, and which I just refer to as plagiarism machines, and how spaces that are usually reserved for artists, for creators, are being used to train these models. And at one point in the story, the dean of Leica, which is the LA Institute of Commercial Art, just openly says, hey, we're going to use this, we're going to make this tool available to all of you. And, you know, there's more to it than that. but really, River is that struggle, but also River is also a lens into how so many Americans are waking up, you know, today, or, you know, whether they woke up in the past to find out that family members that they've known their entire lives are just completely different people. And that is further explored sort of in with Lena's story, because Lena is from Mind's Horizon. She came here pregnant and naked from the Earth variant in Mind's Horizon, the first book in the series. And you don't have to know anything about Lena or the characters from Mind's Horizon to latch onto her story. And her story is really told through journal entries. And she deals with the OEI stuff. She's the lens into the madness. She's already basically crazy by the time that you shack up with her. You know.
Oh, yes. Definitely, it's interesting that you use the multiverse as something that is applied to the 1920s sci-fi horror of Lovecraft, and they work so very well there, as long as you don't overuse it, like,
yeah.
well, I'm not going to say any comic book movie these days.
Right,
right. But going back to some of the other characters and some elements, it's interesting enough that Noir, I think, is fundamentally never actually pro-cop, because the premise of the 1920s that gave rise to the detective fiction we know from that era, and superheroes in general comes from the premise that the system is fundamentally corrupt and cannot protect individuals. So it's the opposite, really, of LA's interpretation, because LA is where we get the modern police show, because Dragnet originated there as a deliberate piece of propaganda from the LAPD.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, look at Batman. Batman, at his best, is usually fighting corrupt cops. I read the first issue of the newest run. I'm like, awesome. And I haven't read Absolute Batman yet, but I've seen some images come out recently that make me really want to.
And it's interesting also to note that River also has a quality that I think will be quite controversial with certain segments of the fandom, and I'm glad you go straight for it.
Oh, yeah. You talking about the fact that he's trans?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm not judging around the world there. I just was giving you the intro with it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean...
Oh, he's a trans male protagonist, and that by itself shouldn't be brave in 2025, but it absolutely is, especially in horror, given the more conservative elements that try and curate the fandom.
Like, look, when I first started writing Cthulhu Grimoire, I was not involved in any activist stuff, you know? I wanted River to be a trans character. It felt right for the character. And that's ultimately why I was motivated to make the character trans, because it felt right. 99% of my decisions are motivated by, this feels right for the story. Not necessarily, oh, I want to shove something down your throat or anything, but... there is this idea that, you know, if you know somebody, it's harder to hate them, right? So throughout Cthulhu Grimoire, I wanted people to get to know River as a person and not judge him based off of, you know, a label or what have you, how he identifies or what have you. He's a character and he's a good person. That's what you should judge him on, you know? And that was really important to capture. And again, I'm not going to name my friend in this right now, just in case, you know, people get like pissed off and want to go after him or something. But my friend had so much influence on this character. Like, he did such a good job in providing me resources for accurate information on, you know, what the trans community is about and how to accurately portray a trans person, right? Because there's in media, and especially in horror, trans people are not always treated the best. And it's time that we just start treating people like people, you know?
It's interesting that rather than go with the usual Reagan, oh, if you smoke the pot and have the premarital sex and drink and so on, and, you know, ever so slightly push against the prevailing cultural attitude, you die in horror. But in this place, it's a mega church, I think, that and a for-profit art school that's definitely on the more conservative-leaning side that starts getting corrupted by the outer influences first. And I thought that was a nice little twist on Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the idea... I'm good friends with a guy named Reed Reimer, and he runs a project called Cthulhu Dreamt. And one of the things that, since he is a father to the special needs kids, people or kids with autism and stuff like that, I forget exactly what spectrum they're on, or what part of the spectrum they're on, but it's really important to him that, like, the madness aspect is not exploitative. Does that make sense? So,
yes, I'm a little bit on the autism spectrum myself there. Like, and anyone who knows me will like, oh my God, what a surprise.
I know, right? Or people who know me know that I'm just a ball of fucking ADHD and coffee. You know,
madness is always very risky to track in Call of Cthulhu and its various spin-offs. But I always felt that it had an attractive element for that, because it's also wrestling with an inner truth that is making you so unable to fit in the rest of society.
Right, but But it's not just that, because and I don't know if you picked up on this, but in Cthulhu Grimoire, I portray madness more as it is the mythos and what Grimoire does to your brain when you are exposed to it, is it overloads it. It's information overload. So it's like poking holes in your brain. It's not that it drives you clinically mad. It's a different phenomenon. It's something that our consciousness and our brains are not capable of processing, and that's where it comes from. And I thought that was an important distinction to make because, A, it's something that I don't think has been done yet. I think it works better mechanically, is what I'm trying to say, I think.
Oh, yes. So what does draw you to the Cthulhu mythos over other existing fandoms and genres of horror?
Oh, I just, like, I love body horror. The Thing is one of my favorite movies of all time. I fucking love John Carpenter. He's one of my favorites, much to the chagrin of my wife, who has to sit through multiple John Carpenter films every Halloween season. Like, she likes The Thing, don't get me wrong, but, like, not a big fan of In the Mouth of Madness, which I love. They Live is a slog for her to get through, and I'm sitting there going, like, I fucking love this.
Oh, yes. I got introduced to Lovecraft by the Into the Mouth of Madness. And that's influenced my interpretation of it ever since there. And yeah, this is not a dream. It is a projection from the future.
Like, people... So one of the first movies...
Those who get it will get it.
One of the first movies that I sat down with my wife to watch when we were first dating was The Void. And I fucking love The Void. The Void is the holy grail of, like, indie cosmic horror films. It looks so good. It is good. It's fucking terrifying. It scared the shit out of her, and she will not watch it with me anymore. But yeah, it was definitely, like, I wanted to do something new and novel with the idea of, and how we handle madness in cosmic horror. Your question was, like, what draws me to it, but, like, body horror is one component. The idea that we are just this little speck in this vast ocean, this sea of stars, and that how small that makes us feel. If we are alone in the universe, that is equally as terrifying as if there is a massive cosmic force of nature like Cthulhu or Yog-Sothoth making everything run. If we are alone in this universe, that's just as terrifying. Cosmic horror, to me, is making the existential dread that is trying to comprehend the vastness of our universe. Just the incomprehensible magnitude of it all. Because we can't even comprehend how big, how massive our solar system is, how big Jupiter is, the sun. That is enough to, like, make my wife terrified. She doesn't like it when I talk about space. So I really latch on to that because that to me is the core of what cosmic horror is about. It is that anxiety, questioning our place in the universe. And really, because humans are really set in this idea that we're the center of everything, that we're God's chosen or what have you, and then having science just come along and say, and do the leg sweep metaphorically to displace our place in the universe is, I think, fucking awesome. And it's really compelling, and we really haven't explored everything that this genre can do yet.
Definitely interesting take on that there. And that actually ties into my next question.
Okay.
Is it hard writing Cthulhu mythos in the modern day? Because so much of Lovecraft's work was tied specifically to a very certain place and time and period, with the idea of the old perspective of humans at the center of the universe being displaced by then contemporary scientific discoveries and ideas. And the conflict between the culty atmosphere of old and the horrifying secular implications, and seeing how those two bash against one another. But in the modern day, a lot of people take the assumptions for granted.
Oh yeah, I think it's honestly kind of easier because if you're doing a period piece, you have to do so much fucking research to get it period accurate. But I think it's just as impactful today. It's just as relevant today because we don't know everything. So starting from today, like a lot of people on Reddit will say, oh, well, cosmic horror, Cthulhu only really works in a 1920s setting because we didn't know that much. But if you're reading Cthulhu or Lovecraft today, you have the same knowledge, but somehow it still works. We don't know if the Big Bang happened the way that we think it did. It probably did. But we don't know. And James Webb is creating a crisis in astronomy because the further we keep looking back in time, the oldest light in the known universe, the more questions it raises. We see, fully formed galaxies that should not exist if, the Big Bang is correct, if the model is correct as it is. The universe could be far older than we thought. There is so much we don't know. We can't come up with a theory of everything. And if you ask me now, and setting stories either in the future or now for cosmic horror, there's never been a better time because there are so many questions, and our certainty about how the universe works, how physics works, has never been shakier. And that's awesome because that means not only because I'm an optimist when it comes to science and I'm a huge Star Trek fan, but the horror of cosmic horror is also pretty fucking fascinating. Like those questions open up so many different avenues. Like, what if we were wrong about so many different things? What if the universe is fucking twice as old as we thought it was? What if it's infinite? What if, there is no, beyond the cosmic horizon, there's just more space? What if we're inside a black hole? These are questions that are just, they're cool. They're terrifying, but they're also cool.
Well, I think that's almost the last of the questions there. So I think I'll wrap up with another question. How has your experience as an indie author been, and what sort of community have you found going this route?
I mean, everyone usually tells me I'm authoring on hard mode because I write in 3-4 different fucking genres, and and it's true. It's true. My journey has been slow. I do more nonfiction work as my writing career has taken off, than I do fiction because I like to take my time and whatnot, and that's not always ideal for indie authors. The whole meta is usually get to 20 books as fast as you can. But for me, each book is a journey, It's not just a journey, but it's also a time capsule of where I was when I wrote that book. I'm not the same person that I was when I wrote Echoes of Olympus Mons. I was still deprogramming from young Earth creationist bullshit at that time and processing that. Because I grew up with young Earth creationism. I was kind of brainwashed into that, and I grew up with evangelical bullshit as well, just crammed into my head. And throughout my early 20s, up until I was 26, I think, I was still deprogramming from all of that. So each book has been a stepping stone into becoming the person that I am today. And I think taking your time and really getting into the editorial, the creative process, the humanity of your work is going to be the future for pretty much for the indie scene. Because as we're seeing with AI, with all of these mega corporations trying to profit off of our art, the best thing that you're going to be able to do to set yourself apart is to remember that you are human.
Well, definitely a good thing to share, and I'm glad you took the time to speak with me about all the various details and your creative process for this book. It's really recommended, and I believe everyone who picks it up or the predecessor will have an enjoyable time with it.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think you guys are gonna love this book. I think you're gonna eat it up. And but it's not the only thing that I'm working on.
Yes. So do you have planned next in your writing career?
So I think the replacement for NaNoWriMo is it like get your project done? Some shit. I don't know what the fucking term is now that's replacing that, but I am trying to finish Neo Rackham 2 because that's been on my to-do list to finish the developmental edits on it, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. I have to tell you, I have to bring Neo Rackham 3 up to continuity because I wrote it as book 2, and then I wrote book 2 between it. It's a weird story. It's a whole thing, and
I understand that happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, that one has about like 70,000 words into it. It's probably going to balloon a little bit, but Neo Rackham 2 is being edited right now. I've been working on it this week, on top of all my other duties and stuff like that, my day job. And then I really want to get Sulenier's Enigma Book 3 drafted. It's sitting at about 135,000 words, and it's a fucking insane book.
Oh, I can't wait.
If you're sleeping on Sulenier's Enigma, you might want to catch up now because this book is going to be fucking insane. And then the 4th and 5th books are going to be a cosmic fucking whirlwind of a journey. On top of that, I guess I'm still writing short stories. I'm looking for a home for one of my best Cthulhu punk stories, and then I'm also considering and brainstorming and writing scenes for a potential 3rd book in the OEI archive series. So look forward to that very soon, hopefully. Like, obviously, I got to get the editing and stuff done and whatnot before something can come out, and it's got to be just right. But it's coming. It's coming.
I look forward to seeing your upcoming works there, but I also want to interview again if you ever have the time there, because there's so many different angles and takes and genres you experiment with there, and this is, after all, your channel.
Oh yeah, we could definitely do this again. This was fun. Because obviously I'm fucking crazy. That's the real answer. That's the secret sauce to my writing. I'm fucking crazy. I fly by the seat of my ADHD, but I also try to make it coherent too. One of the problems with Mind's Horizon was that there was a lot going into that book. It was my first book, technically. I wrote that before Echoes. Echoes was just done first with the editing process. Yes. So Mind's Horizon was technically the first book. So it was the first time I was experimenting with the wider cosmic horror stuff. And, you know, there are 3 different entities in that book, cosmic entities that set up its own, like, they're going to return later in, like, other OEI stories and stuff. So I'm not...
Oh, yes. I tried to talk about Ego Trip a few times there, even though that was completely off the cosmic horror element there, because that's just such a great book. That was my first book of yours, and it really left a lasting impression.
Aw, yeah. I'm glad. Don't worry. There's going to be more Detective Shen in the future. Well... Huge thanks to CT Phipps for interviewing me, for switching places. He did a great fucking job, so give him some props in the comments. And let me know what you think of Cthulhu Grimoire. So go ahead and comment down below. You know, what are your takeaways from it? What's the good, what's the bad from this discussion? Do you agree with Charles and I and our takes on cosmic horror and whatnot? Anyways, I was joined by CT Phipps. You can check his stuff out in the link in the description as well. And we'll see you next time, Space Cowboy.